Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, I appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you'll find the content interesting and consider liking the video or subscribing. I'm out here this morning at a beautiful, more local lake to where I live. It's a small lake. I'm really not even sure how many acres it is. Maybe I'll find out and put it somewhere here in the video. But anyway, I'm out here this morning. I'm going to create a video on laying down an iTrack using my Humminbird Helix 9 graph and my Minn Kota Ultrex trolling motor. And after that, we'll see if we can't fish it a little bit. Stick around if that's of interest to you, we'll get into it. Alright guys, so I'm going to get on out here to a spot where I'm going to start the process of laying down this iTrack. And again, I've got a Helix 9, it's the G4N, N meaning network, so it's able to connect to, in this case, my Minn Kota Ultrex trolling motor. When you're laying down an iTrack, your trolling motor does not have to be deployed like in the water when you're actually laying down the track, but the switch does need to be turned on. So I've got it on right now. I'm not laying a track yet, but I will here before long. I'm just kind of navigating to the spot where I want to start this track. But a couple things I always try to keep in mind when I want to lay down a track. If I'm a lot of factors, of course, but some of the biggest ones are, if I'm trolling, for example, trolling crankbaits, I want to make sure that the depth of the water that I'm laying the track in is adequate for the depth of the crankbaits I'm going to be trolling behind the boat. In other words, if I'm you know, trolling Bandit 300s and Picos and you know, things of that nature that are going to dive, you know, 10-15 feet, you know, I want to make sure I'm at least in that deep of water. So that's one of the main things I'd look for. Number two, of course, is, am I aware of any brush piles in the area? Is there standing timber in the area? Those types of things, you know, you want to be cognizant of and know their whereabouts. As long as the depth and the brush pile or the standing timber, if that's the case, is adequate to troll your crankbaits over, absolutely, I think it's a good idea to, you know, troll over brush piles in those cases, and potentially standing timber if you're in deeper lake and standing timber comes up in the water column just to a point where your cranks can go right over the top of them. I think that's a great spot to look for. If you want to do the research beforehand, you can always, you know, get on one of those apps and pull the lake up and actually look at, you know, water depth and things like that, brush piles, and do it before you even get to the lake. Kind of get an idea where you want to maybe lay that track. Or of course you can do like I do and just get out here on the lake and actually, using your graphs while you're on the lake, you know, go through and lay down a track that way as well. So that's kind of what we're doing today. There's a couple tips to kind of get started. So I'll go down here to the other end of this small lake, and I'll get back with you then. We'll begin the iTrack process. Stick around. Okay guys, so I hope this comes out. It's hard to tell. I'm just using my GoPro today and I don't have a lot of experience with it, so hopefully you can see all this. But so first thing I'm going to do is go over here on this side. This is the Humminbird Helix 9. I don't know if you can see that down there, Humminbird Helix 9. So I'm going to go over here where it says mark. Hit mark up top here. I'm gonna use this scroll wheel for most of the stuff. So I'm going to go down to record iTrack. You can see right now I'm in 21 foot of water, which is great for this lake. So record iTrack, go to the right, and you won't be able to tell anything until I get to moving, but what it will do there is it will lay down a dot, for lack of a better term, starting point, and I think it should be in green. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying the track. So I just put the boat into gear. I'm using the outboard. Again, the trolling motor is stowed, but it's turned on. So once we get moving here, you'll be able to kind of see a green dot there right behind the boat. I hope you can see that. It laid a green dot, and from this point forward, you can see I'm in 23 foot of water, which is great. Using my graph there and the color coordinates that I have on it, I'm just gonna make sure that I'm in at least 20 some foot of water, and should be good as far as this lake goes. So you can see there, it's starting to lay a track. The track it actually lays, at least on my unit, the color that's been selected is kind of a, I don't know, kind of like a pink or a maroon, something like that. But so yeah, I'm just gonna make sure that I stay in 20-ish feet of water, and I'm kind of right off this bank right over here. You can see the bank, there's a few docks up ahead. I'm just gonna watch my graph real closely and continue to make sure that I'm in around 20 foot of water at least. And you can go, I've seen people say you can go up to even 16, 18 miles an hour while laying a track. And I actually tested that the other day. I laid a track when I was down at Truman Lake, and I actually went up to about 18 miles an hour, and it continued to lay the track, no issues at all. So I can verify, at least for me, that that was still the case, that even at 18 miles an hour I could lay a track. So I'm going to pick up speed here a little bit and lay this track down. I'm at 3.5 mile an hour almost right now, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up just a little bit. This lake is an electric motor only lake, except for you can use your big motor to at no wake speed, I guess you might say. Sure, you're not supposed to go very fast at all, but I can at least go, you know, 5 to 6 miles an hour on this lake and not really draw attention or get in any trouble or anything like that. So I'll speed up to, you know, 5 to 6 miles an hour, try and get this track laid down. You can see I'm still trying to stay in about 20 foot of water, going up this edge over here. Pretty good drop off on this edge. As long as I'm around 20 foot of water, I feel comfortable on this lake. This lake does not have any submerged standing timber. It does have some brush piles, and it has some trees that have fallen from the bank into the water, but no real standing timber to be concerned of, at least not in this main piece. So yeah, you can just see I'm laying this track here. I'm just going to keep going, and you can see I'm going 5.5 mile an hour. I'll pick it up even a little bit quicker. I want to try and go around 6.5 miles an hour. So I'm back out on the graph. You can start to see the lake a little bit better there. I'm going to go all the way up towards that north end, and then I'll end the track up there. Still in 22.5 feet of water, going 6.5 miles per hour. It's still laying down a track nicely. It's amazing how quickly these GoPro's batteries get used up. It was about 82% when I started this. Now it's at 73%, and I've only been filming for about 5 minutes. Beautiful morning out here on this lake. It's not very often there's any other boats out here, actually. It's one thing I like about it is you can be very alone out here. Alright, still in 24 foot of water. Keep heading up towards this other end. And I'll get back with you when we get up towards the other end and I get ready to end this track. I'll come back to you and we'll close it off and we'll go from there. Okay guys, I'm getting towards the shallower end of this lake. As you can see, I'm in 14.5 foot of water, and the further north I go up here in this green, it's actually going to be even shallower. It gets down into the 10s and 12s. This lake's great for a lot of different types of crappie fishing, of course, different techniques. I definitely go up here in this shallower end in the spring and flip jigs to underwater trees and brush piles and things like that. But as far as trolling, you know, if you need, you know, 10 to 15 to 20 feet of water, this end of the lake is not really the spot to be. So I'm getting ready to end this track. Pretty easy, really. So when you get to the end, let's see here, slow down a little bit. You want to hit mark again, and you go back down to the third option, which says stop recording iTrack, to the right. Save current iTrack, go to the right. Yes. Now what it's going to do, I'll try and move forward here. It's going to lay down another, I think in my case it's a yellow or gold dot for the mark. So I'll try and get off that dot if I can here. Going pretty slow since it's shallow, but eventually it'll show up. It's starting to come in there at the bottom of the boat. Not sure if you can see that, but I'm still working on figuring out these GoPros. But anyway, so at this point, what I would do is I would go over here to my cursor, and I would drag a cursor down to that last gold spot where we just ended the track, and we would go from there as far as following the track which direction we want to go. So we'll do that next. Okay guys, I hope you can see this. If not, I'll have to reshoot this video again. But using my cursor deal over here, I'm going to begin to drop a cursor down to that last yellow spot that I just stopped by marking it. When I'm down there, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hit go to. Okay, so I'm on that mark, and I'm going to go over here to go to. Now it's going to give me some options at the top. It's going to say navigate to the start or navigate to the end. So if I hit navigate to start, which I'm going to do, it's going to take me to that last dot that we just stopped the mark at, and it's going to take me back to the starting point where that green dot was. You can see the color codes there. It's got the green on that one, and then the yellow dot on this one. So if I want to go navigate to start all the way back to the green mark where we started, which I'm going to do, I would go to this one right here, and I would go right. Now my trolling motor is in the water. Okay, I went up there and put the trolling motor so it is deployed. Now using my micro remote that I've got here, all I got to do is hit my prop button, and it's going to start taking me right to that point. See, but it's already moving. It's using the GPS through the system to take me back to that gold dot, which I realize might be a little bit harder to see here, but you can see the boat turning around there on the screen, and it's going to take me right to that end point, we'll call it, the yellow point. It's going to take me right through that, and it's going to take me right on that iTrack that I just laid all the way back to the starting point. So at this point, once the boat starts going straight, which it's not doing yet, once it starts going straight back down this bank, I would normally go ahead and get my crankbaits out if I'm trolling, and just let the trolling motor itself take me down that iTrack, which gives me a lot less things to have to worry about when I'm casting lines out, reeling in fish. If you can see that, it's taking me right back through that point, and it's going to continue all the way on that iTrack to the green dot. All I have to do at this point really is maintain my speed, which if you can see here is 1.4 miles an hour, which is a pretty good spot to start trolling crankbaits that I've got here. 1.4 to 1.5, 1.6 mile an hour. I'll zoom in a little bit, maybe you can see this a little bit better. So you can see the boat here at the top of the screen, and it's got a green line. It might be hard to tell, but the green line is essentially where I'm headed. That's the GPS heading, and it's leading me right back to that yellow mark, that yellow dot that I laid at the end of the iTrack. So eventually, when it picks up that iTrack, it's gonna follow exactly the route that I took to get here, and I'll get a few crankbaits out the back and start fishing. So that's really, you know, fairly simply how you lay an iTrack and how you get to a point where you follow the iTrack. You just got to make the decision, which direction do you want to go? Do you want to go back? Do you want to navigate to start, or do you want to navigate to end? And you know, that's really the only decision you got to make, and you just use your keys over here to determine which one you want to do and all that kind of thing. So you can see I'm still in 13.5 feet of water, which isn't too deep, but you can even see that on the graph that we're not in very deep water here. So we're probably, I don't know, 20, maybe 25 feet off that last mark that I laid, and we're officially going to be following the iTrack. So again, as long as I'm monitoring my speed here and I got the speed where I want to be, there's a lot less for me to worry about in terms of operating the boat. I can just focus on catching fish, watching out for other boats if that's the case on the lake that I'm on at the time, whatever it is. But it just gives you a lot more time to focus on the actual aspect of fishing and kind of enjoy it, rather than constantly looking over your shoulder, readjusting the boat, making sure you're in the right depth of water. You kind of have already done all that when you laid your track. So great feature, great tool. If you have any questions on this, by all means, you know, drop them down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them as best I can. I'm still fairly new to this whole, you know, system, but I'm learning it. It seems a little bit better every day. So if you got any questions, shoot them my way. That is how you lay down an iTrack, and that is how you follow an iTrack. So as you can see here, we've already come through that dot, and we're following that iTrack. So far all things are going great. I'm gonna get back here and throw a couple cranks out and see if I can't catch some. Appreciate y'all stopping by, and hope you find this content useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.